All right, hello. Welcome again for another 8 note. Still no sign yet, but 8 parentheses PM note. I'm Sam Irvin here in Irvin Music Studio in Asheville, North Carolina. My small company offers private lessons for guitar, trumpet, synth, composition coaching. A couple of drum students and a ukulele student. Also music for events, weddings and corporate events, stuff like that. Solo guitar, string combos with violin, cello, stand-up bass, and various jazz ensembles. And I do production work in this studio, my home studio, where I've got a wide variety of Moog gear, a drum set, huge wealth of effects pedals and interfaces. Just upgraded my I/O with a second Focusrite, the 18i20, that we're going to be playing through tonight. Now I have the drum set permanently mic'd along with my looper board. Pretty excited about that. And that's sort of what this live stream is all about, is me getting a chance to utilize my studio a little bit more, to carve out time in my life to just get creative, play in the sandbox with other musicians in the Asheville community, whether catching up with old friends or getting to know new acquaintances a little better. It is October 19th, I believe, and tonight's guest is Jonathan Lloyd. I had the pleasure of playing with him on his Monday Funk Jam, the J. Lloyd mashup event that happens at One World West every Monday. It's quite the scene, worth checking out for sure. It was really fun to play trumpet with a bunch of great musicians. There's always like 10 people on stage. And that was really the first, or I've only talked to this man a few times, but he's an excellent trombonist, percussionist, and band leader. I believe from Atlanta, but now local in Asheville. And let's talk to him. What, you want to come on down?
Sure. Shaming for Sierra Nevada.
Oh, right, yeah. They can pay for the promotion.
Exactly. There it is.
And accepting sponsors.
Yeah, exactly. Why not?
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Of course.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, you too. Are you indeed from Atlanta?
I am from Atlanta. Born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. I grew up right there, like Midtown area, Virginia Highlands area. People are familiar with that spot. So, yeah, it's a great spot to grow up around a lot of influences. So.
Yeah, what got you up to Asheville, and how long have you been stationed here?
Well, I've been trying to be here for a long time. I've been coming up here all my life, actually. I did a bunch of summer camps here when I was a kid, and I had family up here I'd visit, and I played with a bunch of bands in the 90s up here, various groups. But I finally sold my house in Atlanta and just was ready to go and make the move, and came up here it'll be 3 years this winter. So still fresh as being an actual Ashevillean, but I've been trying to make the move for a long time, and I've had a bunch of connections up here for years, and it was good to go and pull all those people together and like come here and be able to make something of it. So yeah.
Well, I'd say that you're an asset to the community. I mean,
that's
you're
very
really
kind. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. You're really pulling musicians together with these Monday night funk jams.
Mashup.
Mashups. There we go.
It's not just funk. I don't actually like to call this funk jam because we have Funk Jam Tuesdays. So.
That's right. Yeah.
So I like to, it is a different thing. It's very similar in the vibe, but I do like to make it inclusive to other types, and it is funky, but I would prefer it to be soulful or world music-esque. So,
that was the secondary term that was coming to mind. Yeah, soul, world music for sure. Yeah, because there's typically an auxiliary percussionist rocking it.
Yeah, we've brought on Jason DeCristofaro now as part of the core group now. So we have 7 people in the core, where it started with just 5 of us. actually four of us, and then it kind of began to, this works, and now it's become a core group with special guests still. So yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned before. You know what? It's a tradition of the show for me to check the sound and make sure that everybody can hear us.
Yeah, definitely. With special guests still.
Oh,
so, yeah.
crystal clear. I think that sounds good to me.
Cool. Nice.
I have experimented with the mic placement a little bit on the recommendation of a friend who just came over and checked out the studio over the weekend.
Cool.
I had it a little further out because I wanted to show off my bookcase and the titles, but I think it's worth blocking some of the titles to get a clearer sound for our interview.
Yeah, that's a lot of pinch work to see that on the screen if you're gonna see all these little titles.
I know, yeah, on their phone. But the true fans, what is Sam studying?
Yeah, what is Sam reading right now?
Right.
That's a question.
On my nightstand is Bertrand Russell's History of Western Philosophy.
Right on.
Yeah,
Okay.
but that's not what we're here to talk about.
Yeah, well, that's all part of it.
Yeah, we can definitely get into books. This is everything music adjacent is on the table.
Nice.
But I did want to get back to the thread before we wander off about you telling me that the 1-year anniversary of the mashup is coming up on Halloween.
Halloween will be the 1-year anniversary. I'm really stoked for it. We have April Gibbs singing and some other special guests. I'm still working out the details for the rest, but we're going to do a Halloween, party. We're going to do it up.
A spooktacular.
A spooktacular. But yeah, we're going to go all in that one. We got I'm curating with her right now to put together a really good show. So I know it's going to be a special good one. So for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Looking forward to it. I can't believe it's been a year of them already.
Yeah. So you have the core group that's grown over the year, but then you have special guests on. Mm-hmm. This show is only me and a special guest.
Yeah.
We're two men, by the way, I wanted to mention, who like putting our names on the thing. Right. J. Lloyd's mashup.
Yeah, that actually only came. So I'll go and give it a little quick history if that's all right.
Absolutely.
So actually, the reason why I went with J. Lloyd Mashup is I actually had this band back in 2012 in Atlanta and incorporated different people, same vibe, but we actually did a bit more breakbeat and had a percussionist, but it was an Afro-Cuban percussionist, and we did a little bit more Latin, and we also did more hip-hop. So I had a guy that would do live scratch on the turntables and MC, so that was part of it too. And we did quite a few shows in Atlanta. It was a lot of fun, but I actually hit up Brad Walker, who's playing saxophone from New Orleans. He's going to be on this next gig with us on the 24th, this Monday. And actually, I had the thought of calling him up and be like, hey, I know you're from Hendersonville. Are you coming to town anytime soon? We'd love to do something together. And this is before the mashup existed. And he's like, sure, man, yeah, let's do something. I'm like, well, cool. Well, who do you have? Who do you recommend? And we put together this band, and we did a one-off just to have some fun, an excuse for him being in town. And for the lack of having to, lack of a name, having to come up with something new, I was like, well, I've already got this. Kind of works for this anyway. So, just called the J. Lloyd Mashup, because I didn't know if it was ever going to do anything more than this one show. It's just let's get it going of something. I already have a Facebook for it. I can promote it that way, and why not? Mm-hmm. So,
yeah.
So that's what we did. It's the J. Lloyd Mashup featuring all these guests, and I had, Brad Walker was a guest. I think Datrian Johnson, I want to say, was the guest at one point. I can't remember if he did the first one. Yeah, the singer. Mm-hmm. And of course, Jessie Berry. I mean, she was a big part of this, all happening together. She introduced me to so many people to even start in the first place, because I was new to town. I didn't know who to call, and she gave me a list of names and friends that were able to be a big part of making it all happen. So I definitely give it up for her for doing that.
Does that seem... I'm interested in that, how you continue to procure or meet musicians. I mean, now I'm sure this train is on the tracks and it's running.
In a sense. But I do like it to be organic. Everybody asks me, how do I choose and all that stuff. And it's not about choosing. It's who's in the vibe, who's coming out and supporting, who's actually taking the time to come check it out and then talk to me and say, hey, I would love to do this. I'm like, that's great. Let's do it, But
yeah.
I like it to be like that. I don't want it to be a thing. I want it to be organic, and it's part of a vibe. I want to just, naturally talk to people and do it. It's I want to be inclusive to the whole community, and sometimes meet people from the gigs. Otherwise, it might be on another sit-in from somewhere else in Asheville, or I might meet somebody through somewhere, whatever channel. But I like to try to be inclusive to everybody, and it's really hard because there's a lot of people in Asheville. So it's like
That's what I was getting at. Yeah, there are a lot of musicians.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we can make it so we can work with everybody. I mean, that's the idea, And it's not trying to be a heady thing. It's a lot to handle sometimes. I do get bogged down, and I do forget some things sometimes. I'm human. I'm sorry, but I really do try to make sure I keep it open for the whole community.
Yeah, I mean, you're organizing all the charts and stuff. I mean, most of the charts.
Well, the charts, the horn charts are Jonathan Cole. He does a lot of that stuff.
Right, yeah.
Basically, what we do for this is I come up with a list of tunes, whether they're original or whether they're covers or whatever, and I send them out. Everybody does their homework, and everybody just shows up nailing the stuff. Just like we got about 30 to 45 minutes to review songs, but we don't rehearse. That's part of the beauty of it. Everybody's on their toes. Nobody wants to let anybody down. Like everybody wants to do the homework. Nobody wants to be that person that didn't do it, which is kind of cool and keeps it. I think it adds to the whole vibe in the first place. But yeah, I mean, we do have some horn charts here and there which make a big difference, and I'll give credit to Jonathan Cole for doing all that. I try not to. I try to do everything by my head. I try to learn everybody's parts, or at least be aware of the parts, so that I can help direct, and that's kind of part of the night too. So I can help direct it live and keep the train rolling. Yeah,
you certainly are throwing out the band leader signals, like, we're moving on now.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like I must look like a madman sometimes, but somebody's got to do it. That'll be me. I'll take the fall.
Yeah, you got to be very obvious about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of it.
My light is dying over here. But yeah, are you choosing the songs? I guess the special guest from every week is sort of choosing the songs, right?
Well, it all depends. Everyone's different. That's the great thing about this. Every week's different. Every artist has their own style, and sometimes it's definitely a curation between me and the guest. Sometimes it is. Sometimes I'm more directive of it. Other times I like to just see what they come up with first. I always give the artists they're like, let me know what you're thinking, if they need some help. Well, what about this? What about this? But for the most part, I like to see what they come up with, and then go from there. Because I don't want to. That actually leads to it being something completely different. Like I had Drayton doing some violin with us.
Yeah, and he's been on this before.
Yeah, Drayton Aldridge, he's great. And I had no clue what we were going to come up with, and I put it in his court. He gave me a list, and I was like, I think I shut down maybe 80% of it because I'm like, I just don't see this, because I try to think about what's going to work with the group and how to incorporate it for the night, how to keep it a dance party, how to keep the horns include everybody in the band. And after the second rendition of it, he came up with some stuff that was just excellent. And he actually thought it was going to be funny. Like, I don't think you want to do this, but I'm like, no, that's actually my favorite thing you chose. It's just got to have a lot of fun with that. So I really enjoy the collaboration between trying to get it together with these artists and guests. It's a lot of fun. That's actually most of the fun, just to be able to come up with something new, and then sometimes worry oh crap, are we going to be able to get this out? How is it going to come out? And then by the end, it's always beautiful. I haven't had any regrets about anything.
That's good. Yeah, no big train wrecks or anything.
No, I mean, we've had some train wrecks, but I think maybe, that's part of it. We've had a couple wrecks, but it's never come down to an end. We've never got to a point where we had it's never been a complete disaster. I feel like, that's the perfectionist in us though too. I don't think everybody notices it, or if they do, it's minute. It's not to a point where oh, that sounds like crap, I'm out of here.
I'm leaving now. Yeah, that would be nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine you've had so many musicians come through, that's really cool. And it must take so much work to throw it together every week, a lot of man hours combined, between the whole band.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it takes a lot of hours for sure. It actually has taken quite a bit of my life, but I am so happy to do it. It really does bring me joy. It's like my highlight of every week. So, you know, I go out and do other music on the weekends, but this is what I always look forward to coming home to, is being in this vibe. And Asheville just has such an amazing bank of musicians, and it's it's a hidden gem, for lack of better words, of musicians here.
Yeah, it's a unique scene. You know, I go on vacation elsewhere. You know, went to Charleston earlier this year and walked around like multiple days in a row. Like, where are all the bands at? You know?
Yeah, right.
Asheville, you walk down the street, you know, and it's just band after band playing everywhere. Great musicians.
For sure, yeah. And it's just like there's a whole just community here that doesn't exist anywhere else. I think that's something that gets overlooked to other cities, but Asheville really does have such a community. And that's like inclusive of all artists. It's not like just one style. I mean, there's definitely like a little bit of clique stuff going on, but not like other cities. You know, cliques are still like their circles overlap. They're not like other cities where, oh, you do this, we do this, you do this and that. You know, it's like people are very inclusive to other styles and like different little circles of musicians for, you know, as you know. For a term, I guess, you know.
Yeah,
but it's nobody's
true.
against each other. People do really help people out here, and it's amazing. People show up for other musicians. Period. It's a strong brotherhood, sisterhood. What's another way to say it? You know, all inclusive. Just mothership.
Family. Yeah.
Family. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that or you're a full-time musician.
I am
too, right? Yeah, I think that there's like that attitude in Asheville as well, like, oh, you're doing this with your life, you know, like, oh, let's do it, because there is like some compulsion. At least talking to other guests, there's like nothing else I could do, you know.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Just feel the call, I have to do this.
Definitely.
And that recognition of like other, you know, it doesn't have to be a competition, or there isn't that spirit.
There should never be a competition.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
deal
nice.
with that. I don't like that at all. I don't like people that walk in with heads, because we're all just humans.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder, well, I guess there's no way for me to ask you to compare Atlanta and Asheville in that way without you throwing shade on.
I'll never talk any
Asheville.
stuff about Atlanta. I love Atlanta. It's great.
Yeah.
The music scene there is amazing.
There too, right?
There is a great community there. Their musical community is absolutely astonishing. It's huge, and it's such a the city's so spread out. You don't have the connection all in one, which Asheville has. You know, Asheville, Black Mountain, Hendersonville, like you know, Mills River, like everything. Everybody's still so close, where everybody's still in the same kind of family. Where Atlanta's kind of separated in a bunch of different ones, because it's just a bigger city. But it has quite a music scene, and it's amazing. The only thing I don't like about Atlanta is like too many people move there, and the infrastructure can't support it. So therefore, that's what's hurting Atlanta right now. It's just got too big, and but the musical community there is still quite amazing.
That's cool.
So,
well, people are saying that about Asheville as well.
Exactly. Well, yeah, it's years off from running into the issues I think Atlanta has, but I mean, that's happening in every city though.
I was about to say,
it's like
there's just more
it's
people.
not just here, just more people. We're just the growth of humanity. It's just like, who knew it was going to turn into this? So, but you know, that's what it is. You know, what do you do?
Yeah.
You adapt.
More of an audience, more guests for the mashup.
You would. That's a good way to see it. Yeah, just more people to come see some more music. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
More ears.
Exactly. More ears to go and lend to some art. I like that.
Yeah, so tell me about maybe earlier time. So I have a couple of fallback questions that that have emerged over doing this. I think this is number 36. I should have thrown that out there. And I should have also up top thrown out the format of the show, which is that we're going to chat for an hour and then jam for an hour.
Cool.
I'm letting all of that format stuff emerge itself too, in this sort of casual setup for the show, figuring out which lights will work the entire time and which ones will go halfway through. I'll have to troubleshoot that guy, but so we could line them up or one at a time. I think I'm gonna give you a choice. Maybe, you know, what are ways that you identify through music? You know, obviously, like, this is your main go-to, that event is sort of your hub for maybe your whole social life in a way. Maybe not your whole social life, I won't characterize it like that, but and did you experience that identifying as a musician, throughout your life, like in your childhood and stuff?
Well, yeah, I've always been like my mom's a music major. She studied piano. She's a music major, and she forced me, or I should say, strongly encouraged me to play an instrument when I was 9 years old. So I've been playing music since I was 9, but before that I was singing too, and I grew up an old soul from listening to a bunch of 60s and all that, and so music's always been a part of my life. And at 9 I started going on the trombone, and then at 15 I was already out on the road touring. So I've been doing that my whole life. So yeah, music's been hand in hand in my whole life, just like especially adult life, or from teenage and on. It's been my hub. It's been my one thing that I could always count on. Yeah, that's really a way to see it. Like, it's one thing I always knew I had, even though through all the troubles in my life and things that we all go through, it was always there. So, but yeah, it's always been a drive for me. And I'm not sure if I'm answering your question or not, but
no, you are. I think
okay.
that's a maybe a unique way to come at it that I haven't heard so much. I've been curious about the nature versus nurture aspect of it for people a little bit. Like, I find that if I don't practice for a little bit, or I don't play music, I start to get grumpy, or like I start to really experience like a drop in mood and my effectiveness in life in general.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's because I've practiced so much that my brain is just conditioned to expect that therapy.
Yeah.
I've been asking various guests, and Evan Scott, the drummer, was on recently and said that he thinks that he just always had that sort of brain, the musician brain that likes to puzzle the puzzles and figuring it out,
Yeah.
and working something out, and that music gave him something to put that into,
That makes sense. I think for me, it's really music's my comfort zone. Like, it's just what makes me feel at home. Like, when life gets hard, I know I have music, and I can it's like my escape almost. But also, it's just like where I feel at home if something's going wrong, or whatever might be. And when things get really crazy and I just need to really blow off steam, music allows me to do that too. I can really put it into my music, or into the thought process behind it, or whatever part it is. Music for me is not even like a job. It's really just part of my soul. Like, I don't want to sound cheesy, but it's part of my soul. It's like, it's my outlet to express myself completely. And that could be a conversation that it's tough to have. I can let that out through music. Yeah, so I use it. It's more of an extension of myself.
Yeah, I think music, when you're, and I think you're being very all-encompassing here, listening to music, or orchestrating or arranging music, or figuring something out, music like in a practice room, or performing, I think is all falling under this umbrella, right, for you, of this comfort zone, and
it's
this
all the
part
same
of yourself.
Yeah, it's all, to me, it's the same, because like, just playing music, that's one thing, it's great, but for me, it's just the act of making it and putting something on. Like, I like to entertain, like, not that I'm the best entertainer per se, but like, I like to curate. And so anything that has to do with curation, I'm just really down for, and just really kind of makes me feel comfort.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. I like that. When you're performing, when you're bringing it, it's a very immediate thing. You have to be in that flow state, and there's an authenticity that needs to be brought, and that can really only be achieved through like a lot of preparation beforehand.
Yeah.
And I like that you're bringing in curation as part of that preparation, and the entertainment factor is sort of post that flow moment, right?
Yeah.
Directly after you're experiencing that flow moment, immediately after somebody's listening to it,
It's the whole process.
In that same moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that to be a good musician, to care about it, you really have to have a lifestyle that like supports that authenticity, to be able to to have that through line, you know.
It definitely helps.
Yeah, music, I think for me is very like just analogous to what it is to have like sort of integrity, you know, because you have to I don't know, like as part of myself, like I guess every time I go out and perform, I'm like representing myself, you know. We use the same part of our brains to play music, to improvise music as we do to like tell somebody about ourselves. And I do think that it, in a very real way, it does have to connect on a super personal level.
Definitely.
Through identity.
For it to actually land the way that you want it to.
Yeah, definitely.
But everybody, to each their own, you know, everybody has their things, so. Yeah, no judgment by any means.
Towards biologists or artists.
I think it's the same thing. It's just, it is art. I mean, everything is an art of sense, you know?
Yeah.
The way your brain chemistry works, the way that our human minds work is beautiful. It's art, you know, however you use that. If you're a librarian and your mind works as like this whole like computer bank, then that's beautiful too. It's the same thing, you know.
Yeah absolutely. When you mentioned if you want it to really land, that's sort of another I want to talk more about curation and the idea of curation in general, but I want to stick a pin in that and ask, what are some like problems and solutions? You know, have you run into any challenges that you know, does anything come to mind there? You know, some students are watching this, or you know, learners, people sort of earlier in their musical careers. Like, is there anything like a brick wall that you hit that you need to get past? Maybe it's a gear thing, you know, a very specific technical issue, or maybe a practice routine sort of thing.
I mean, not really. The only like issue I think with curation is like, not
with curation in general, with the whole, you can abstract or anything having to do with music.
Yeah, well, the only thing that stops is, I guess one thing that comes to mind is, you know, not every idea has to stay that same idea. You know, like everything can change. Nothing has to be, you can have this one idea and be ultra focused on it, and you can try to go and beat it so hard, but everything's just not happening, but you keep on trying to make it be this one thing. When you're an artist, it can be whatever you want it to be. Everything's going to be great. Embrace what comes your way. You know, that's the way I see it. Like, you know, I think that happens for a lot of people. It's like, I really need this, I need this, and you can put all this energy into it, and then you're fighting yourself when really everything's right around you. All the answers are there. You just have to like be open to it, and so that happens a lot too. Like you have this full-on vision of what you want something to be, and then same thing of curation. It's like, you know, I want it to be this. Well, this is what's given. So, okay, well, let's do this, and it can still be what you want in the end. You know. Like, the steps you take to get there is part of the journey, and you can't ignore them, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I know there's a design aspect, right? You're designing a performance, but you can only go so deep, you know. No pyrotechnics yet at Mashup Mondays.
No, I don't think there ever will be.
Well, don't say that.
Well, that's true. You never say never or anything. But yeah, that's not the idea. Yeah. Yeah, the idea is to keep community, play good music, and eventually the idea is to take this and do a full originals album, which we've already started working. We have some originals, so we just need to record them, and then hopefully come back, and everybody's been a part of it. Well, this is a whole different little subject here, but I would love to go and do like a full-on like recording series of like trying to record with everybody that's been a part of it, and do at least a song or two, all originals, and release series of like albums of sessions, like of originals featuring Asheville.
That would be awesome. Yeah. Like that would be the name of it, featuring Asheville.
I don't know what the name would be, but it'd be something like that.
You heard it here.
Yeah.
No.
You heard it here first, y'all.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is actually something I would like to do if I can ever find the right ways to make it happen. So
That'd be cool.
yeah.
I think that's an awesome idea. I think Asheville is just in the zeitgeist of at least the southeast, but people are flocking here from everywhere. You had said you had wanted to get here for a long time. What after or what summer camps did you go to out here?
Well, it was only one, but it was Camp CeeLo in CeeLo, North Carolina, which
Okay.
is kind of like just past Black Mountain, kind of in between Black Mountain and Marion, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm from Brevard, so I went to a couple
Okay.
right here. I was wondering if we.
Yeah, it wasn't that one. I had friends that went to the Brevard camp, but I think it might have been some years before you. So,
Oh right.
but yeah, what's the jazz camp? The jazz one they did in Brevard, or the music camp they did?
There is a music center camp
Okay.
there, but I'm not sure. I was thinking of Gwynn Valley. I went
Okay.
there a few years.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I went to Camp CeeLo. It was actually a mountain Quaker camp. It was a co-ed camp. It was absolutely amazing. Highly recommend that camp to people that have kids between, 9 and 13, I think they're doing. So
It's still going.
it's still going. Yep.
That's
it's
cool.
a family that owns it, and it's just great. It's just no outside sources allowed. All the food, or most of the food, comes off the land that they grow, and everybody has chores to keep up this farm. And you go hiking, horseback riding, you play games, song, spirit, all kinds of stuff, swimming, tubing, all kinds of things, but like in a very, very simple, honest way, and I like it. It's
Yeah.
a really good upbringing, and it's co-ed, which I'm a big fan of. I think that's something that doesn't happen enough. It's like boys camps, girls camps, but like it should just be inclusive, because life doesn't change. We're all here.
was
You might as well
gonna say the same
start
thing.
early and understand, So anyway, yeah. So that was a great one to go to. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah. And then I came up here with a bunch of other bands. There's a Latin punk reggae rock band I played with called Mandarico way back in the day that we used to come up here in the 90s and play all the time. And I guess it was late 90s and early 2000s mainly when I was doing that one. And then there's another band called the Robustos. It was a ska rocksteady band. That one we did come up here through the 90s. And then I played with another band called Cadillac Jones, and that's where I got to really kind of like meet a lot more people in Asheville. And actually, we did a tour with Yo Mama's Big Fat Booty Band and Cadillac Jones early on for Terrapin, and that's where I met a lot of people from Asheville, and it's been stayed friends since, and seen that band morph from what they were into what they are now. It's been pretty amazing.
Yeah, they've been around for a long time.
They have,
I remember
yeah.
seeing them when I was pretty small at like Belshare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to do Belshare and Gombe Festival and all those. That was so much fun. Yeah, I miss Belshare. That was a great one.
Yeah, that was huge.
It was.
It like tore the city apart.
It
That's why
did.
they had to end it.
Yeah.
It was like the biggest free festival in the southeast. It'd be
Yeah.
nice. I guess nobody's even really thought about it over the past couple of years with COVID, but the Moog Fests and stuff before that were pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Saw Dan Deacon play on Broadway Street.
Oh,
It was
nice.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing SOS Band at Gombe back in the day, and I saw a bunch of good music up here. I'll probably play Belshare maybe like 4 or 5 times, something like that. It was great.
That's cool.
Yeah. Used to play the old Stella Blue before it was Asheville Music Hall, and Emerald Lounge before it was Tiger Mountain, and
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Nice. Yeah, Asheville, the Asheville vibe. A series. I noticed that you put out some live streams of the Monday event, the
Yeah,
mashup.
I am AVL. Thank y'all for doing what you do. They record every single one of these, live stream, and post them up on their website for archives. There might have been 1 or 2 that's missing, but for the most part, for a year now, they've recorded every single one of them, which is amazing.
That's awesome. They
yeah.
sound pretty good. Is it just direct out from the mix?
Yeah, they have a basic board mix that's going. I want to say they also have another live mic that they include in that, but I guess it depends on the night and who's mixing and everything. But it is a board mix, and it usually sounds pretty right on. There's maybe sometimes some things that are out of balance, but you can get the idea.
Yeah.
You know.
There are a lot of things on that side of the production to worry about. So many cables and knobs in here.
Yeah, without having somebody separately mix it, from the live, to have a separate mix is not ever going to be 100% perfect, but it is really good. I've listened to some of them, and you can definitely, you're not offended when you hear it, so that's good.
That is good, yeah. I'm getting pretty close here. Last week, Ben New was on.
Okay.
Do you know that drummer? He plays Dr. Bacon.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Fantastic drummer. So I was glad I didn't screw the sound up for that.
Right on.
I had Rebecca or Fancy Marie.
Oh, yeah.
A while back, and that was a simpler mix, but somehow tougher, because I was just getting our guitars and our voices together.
I see.
And the sort of country vibe and the lead playing. Some people are so good at being very busy on the guitar, playing that like country lead, but also somehow being in the background. I don't know if I was quite nailing that that balance, but I was glad to have her on. Yeah, 36. You're coming up on 52 weeks of the mashup.
That's right.
That's great. Yeah. That's super cool. The sound, how many sound guys are at One World West?
It's predominantly one, which is Michael Tao. He's been part of them for years, and he's done a lot to really improve that place. But when he can't do it, it started off actually, I ran sound at first, because I was trying to save money, so I was running sound at first, which led into a couple of problems at first because it's a brand new board, but figured them out. And every once in a while I'll have to cover it, but we've brought in Mark Scarce from ISIS Music Hall a couple times, and we got Scarecrow out from that works Salvage Station to do it a couple times. So but for the most part, Michael Tao's been on point and been there for pretty much the beginning. I'd say maybe 3 weeks we did without him, and then they put him on, which is great. So.
Yeah, I think he was there when I was playing.
He was, he was. Yep. And I think they have a couple other people, but Michael's pretty much been the main sound guy at that club, with a few other outsourcing from here to there.
It sounds cool. That's a cool layout for a venue too.
It is cool.
The circular bar.
Yeah, it's not like just a box.
Spaced.
That's what I like about it. And it's got old floors in it, and it's not really a venue, but they've made it one. But like, what I love about that place is the inclusion between the crowd and the band. Like, there's no stage, so you're there at the level of the crowd, and the crowd can be right up on you. There's no separation or a barrier, so they're really in it with you, which already makes a big difference. And I think that's really led to the Knights doing so well, is to be able to have that inclusion with the crowd, to make so I think everybody feels like they're actually a part of it, which they are, where instead of being on a stage like playing down to people, it's a little different. It's like you have one thing and another, two entities, but this really feels like one entity, which is cool.
Yeah, it does. Because the bands hop in, especially with the horn section being there, there's a little bit more movement, I think. We can bob and stuff, and there is that back and forth. Sometimes a little bit too much to start drumming on your topless.
People start getting in the in the spirit, and there's nothing wrong with that,
Yeah, definitely not. That's a good sign, I think.
Yeah.
Bringing the house down. I mean, that scene is hip. I really can't exaggerate that. I mean, I loved going there before we even talked.
Yeah.
This is my scene. I'd gotten sucked into the country western night at Double Crown for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know what drew me there. I liked that same vibe where the band is right in the middle of everything, I think.
Definitely.
And just another really hip scene. I was like, this isn't my style of music necessarily, but the hipness, the beats of the mashup is really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
can we talk about your rig that you're going to play with here in a minute? Like, what's going on your pedal board?
Sure. Yeah. So I got a Line 6 HR pedal. I forget which one, but it's at the wherever the midline is, and it's awesome. It's really clean, and I can hook it up to my laptop and tweak it out, and I have so much more to learn about it. I kind of got like 4 sounds I liked and kept it there, but it does so much more. But I have that, and I have a DD5, or actually DD7 delay, and then a Boss pedal on there too, for as a Boss synth pedal. But I think I need to take it out because it doesn't work well with the HR. They sometimes has a little issue. But I'm running everything through a wireless first. So do a wireless trombone mic through a DPA 1099T mic, and then running that through the pedals and then out through the delay last into a DI, and it's pretty simple, but it can do a lot. So that's my trombone rig for now. I used to have a Space Echo, and that was great.
Oh yeah.
But I took that out because this does that and more. So it was a little spendy to get it, but it was totally worth it.
Yeah, the Line 6 stuff is good.
Yeah.
So when you do plug it into the computer, do you have to form like racks, like sort of each pedal that you push then is going to activate multiple effects at the same time?
You can trigger them that way. You can pretty much do anything with this thing because it's all computer based. So, but yeah, you USB it to your laptop and then open it up, and you can just go through. I can set up every single individual bank, or you can set up triggers, or you can set up. You can like do combinations. There's just so much you can do with it. It also loops as well, which I need to start doing. I just haven't had a chance to do it yet. But
Yeah.
I would like to do that. I don't play solo loop stuff ever, so.
I know, I wish I got to do it more. I had a couple of loop gigs this year, which is really fun to get the synth bass going and my guitar and then some hand percussion and then play trumpet over it.
Yeah.
And just sort of be like this little new age background guy at a country club. I love those little wallpaper background music gigs.
Definitely.
Especially when I get to fool around like that. Sometimes
The freedom is pretty cool, I can imagine.
Yeah, definitely soundscape sort of stuff. And for those, I brought the bigger looper, but I've got another more simple looper too to do some jazz stuff with.
Oh, nice.
To just do the form and then be able to solo over myself. That works well when I'm singing as well, and then I can sing, play the chords while I'm singing, and then boom, I've got the chord progression happening while I'm taking my solo.
Right on.
Activating that loop.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to get back into the looping world. It's something I really haven't messed with much. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like any of the bigger, well-known loopers like Reggie Watts or?
Oh yeah, Reggie Watts
Flying
is amazing.
Lotus or Mark Ribier. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, but yeah. Reggie Watts is great. I actually got to play with him. He used to sing for Soul Live back in the day, and I actually met him opening up for Soul Live of Cadillac Jones back in the day. And
whoa, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was in Atlanta. But yeah, I've definitely watched his stuff. He's amazing. He's a character too.
He's sort of a hero for sure.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not very hip to the world yet of it, so I got a lot to learn there.
Yeah, I think especially you've got a fondness for the hand percussion. You brought like a whole arsenal over there of stuff we're gonna try to loop.
Yeah, well, you never know, and if the vibe's there, it makes sense, and if it's not there, you don't have it to play with, so we might as well put an array of things out for you. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the looping possibilities there are great. Harmonizing the trombone could be cool too, but I feel like that could be a little unwieldy to do a lot of that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna see.
I don't know. Yeah, let's figure it out for sure.
Right, exactly.
Are we there? We are pretty much at 9. Did we leave any hanging threads? Is there anything else that you want to talk about or plug? We didn't really talk about like the taxonomy of everything you do musically in Asheville. No lessons, right? You're a full-time performer?
Just full-time performing. Yeah, I mean, I have another band that I play with that does events and such. That keeps me touring all over the place. Like, I've been doing it for 12 and a half years. is a band called Party in the Moon out of Atlanta, and it's yeah, it's like, you know, it's an events band, but it's like it's a good living, and it's treated me right and keeps me in different places all the time, which I love to tour. So
Yeah.
it's pretty much all 50 states in the Caribbean that I tour, and that's every weekend, if not more.
Wow, that's huge.
It is. It's
The
a lot of work.
Caribbean, that's nice. You say it's nice, but I guess you're there, you're doing the work. and
Well,
you
the
just
problem
wanna
is
get
we're only
home.
there for a day and we're out. So it's like we don't really get a chance to do anything. It's pretty much like come here, be sleep deprived, do the job, be more sleep deprived, move on to the next thing. So it's
Yeah.
it's like pretty much just like a no sleep gig. And then I turn around and do Mondays again, and then every Tuesday I have to drive to Atlanta and back for rehearsals, for 11 a.m. rehearsal. So I have to get up early, drive to Atlanta from Asheville, and drive back for a 2-hour rehearsal. And it's quite a lot, but it's part of the job. So
Yeah.
you gotta do what you gotta do.
Maybe Zoom will really get that technology kicking.
I tried that. It's
and,
just
like-
too much latency right now.
Right,
If
yeah.
you can't play live, then nobody wants to do it. So I tried a few other outlets, to try a few other programs, but nothing is consistent.
Yeah,
So
not yet.
not yet.
5
We'll
or
see.
10 years.
I'm hoping.
Holograms. Just
Yeah, for real,
full
right?
holograms.
Or at least if there's some kind of platform that delays everything the same. But I don't know how that would work either. But I don't know. Something.
Yeah, because you got to monitor yourself playing.
You do. That's
Yeah.
the thing. It's like
With
how do you do it?
The metaverse
Yes, right.
coming. Avatars.
We'll see what happens. Yeah, maybe it'll be a new technology. Or it's like everybody's been sleeping on or something. Who knows? So
Who knows? Well, we're not going to sleep right now, but we are going to take a little break.
yeah, cool.
Thanks, Jonathan Lloyd, J. Lloyd,
Rock
for
on.
being on. I'm Sam Irvin, and we're going to take a few minutes of a break and then loop and jam and play in the sandbox.
Sounds good.
All right, let's do it.
Right on. Thanks, bro.
Hey, thank you. Just take me a second to go back to Please Wait. are back. I guess I should turn this mic off actually so they can't hear us. Or they can listen to us troubleshoot. I don't know. Maybe we'll have a room mic.
There it is. That works.
All right. Is that better?
Yeah.
I think what's actually happening is that you
It
were,
was going through that.
yeah, spiking on that guy. You a little bit and put a limiter on just so you're louder.
All right. Will you take the cans up just a little bit more? The headphones?
So that's what you're sounding like.
Cool.
That's bad. That's pretty good. All right. Let's try it. Do I hear us in here? I haven't used these very much. I think they've still got the plastic on them. You want to try starting with some of the loops of the...
Yeah. Let's get some percussion going. That Moog's still doing that thing right now.
Yeah. All right. So, how fast do you want it? something happened there.
It was something. It was something. Ghost.
Yeah, for sure. Whew.
The jam.
Oh, let's check it again. See if anything else comes in. You feeling comfortable? Anything you want more or less of? Playing more audio?
Just maybe overall for the drums, if that can come up a little bit, that might be good. Is that just straight up on that?
Yeah, there's a volume on the left here. This is a headphone jack over there.
Cool.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, cool.
But we didn't have forgot about the drum kit.
It's alright.
Sick beats though. I like the plan.
Cool, yeah, sorry, I should have turned it up before. It's kind of hard to hear, so I kind of lost it for a minute, but it's alright.
Oh, gotcha. No, I thought it was great. Yeah, sick. Let's do another thing. Let's like slow it down maybe.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. One thing I don't like about this looper is that it always has to start for me to erase everything.
Oh, really?
For a for like a live performance, I feel like there's got to be a better way.
Yeah, I feel you. We'll put down some bell just for a tempo.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm wondering, are you getting that buzzing?
Let me try something. Here we go.
Cool. All right, nice. All right, yeah.
What do you think for tempo wise? What are you thinking?
Maybe like a 12/8 kind of thing?
Okay.
Shuffle. super quick last roundup.
Yeah, where are we at? Are we good?
Yeah, we're almost at time. We started a little late.
Beat that lead.
Do you have that octave effect?
Yeah, I can do it. Let me get a straight
Oh, wait, I thought the octave went down.
Down?
Yeah. I know. Don't worry about it.
Definitely do better than that.
Do you want to do a percussion first, or you think you got it on the bone?
I'm good, but let me just get the part right. something.
It was something. We made music.
It was musically made.
That's right. It was not curated.
It was not.
It was the opposite of curated.
Opposite of curation.
That is sort of this whole vibe. The opposite of curation. A sandbox. You build a little sand castle. It's nothing like a real castle.
And put some drips on top of it to decorate it.
Exactly, yeah. Well, thank you so much. I think people can hear my voice on this thing. You are Jonathan Lloyd.
That's me.
And I am, I was going to say, I was Sam Irvin.
He was.
I am Sam Irvin. This was 8 Note, the live stream. We'll be back again next week with, I think, Ben Hovey for another chat and another jam. Thank you so much for coming on.
Right on. Thanks, brother.
And thanks for watching. See you next time.